We are one of the most fossil fuel dependent economies right across Europe. So my name is Dr. Paul Deane. I'm a senior lecturer in clean energy futures here at University College Cork. My research, as the name suggests, is thinking about the future. I think about how we will power our appliances, how we will fuel our cars, how we will heat our homes, how we will use our lands, and do all that in a very clean way. So one of the questions I get asked most often is, are you either optimistic or a pessimist about the future? And I often respond by saying, okay, those things are not very helpful. What I think is the most useful thing is to be determined. And determination is probably the hidden factor that is one of the most powerful elements in delivering a clean future. But that determination isn't just based on wishful thinking. It's based on evidence. A lot of that evidence comes from the science that we produce here in UCC. So Ireland is an incredible country with a great story to tell. But unfortunately, if we look at where we are at the moment, we are one of the most fossil fuel dependent economies right across Europe. So last year, about 85% of all the energy that we use across the year comes from fossil fuels. And of course, most of that fossil fuel is imported. And there's two problems with that. It costs a lot of money, and it's also costing the planet. In the year 2022, we were spending about roughly €1 million every single hour importing fossil fuels into Ireland. And for a country that's so rich in opportunities and in potential, particularly in our own indigenous resources, which happen to be clean, that's a real crying shame. So there's a gap, unfortunately, between the rhetoric that we have in Ireland, which promotes this great country about being green, clean and sustainable, and the reality which belies that, which is different, which tells a different truth. And moving away from fossil fuels, I think, is one of the huge opportunities for Ireland. When I think about moving away from fossil fuels in Ireland, I don't just think about the technologies or the panels or the wind turbines. I think about people. I think what that would mean for our lives. If we have a country that isn't reliant on fossil fuels, such as today, we would have a country that would be less exposed to the vagaries of geopolitics. We would be more responsible for our own energy production, which is a good thing. That would mean there would be more jobs here, and those would be meaningful jobs that would endure, that would help communities, that would help farming communities, coastal communities. This year in Ireland, about 1,300 people will die prematurely because of poor air quality. And it's a very unfair and unjust type of pollution, air pollution, because it disproportionately affects the very young, and the elderly, and the sick. So when we move away from fossil fuels, it's not just about generating lots of things that are good for the planet. It's really about doing things that are good for people. And one of the reasons why I'm so determined to deliver this future is because when I think about that future, 2 or 3 decades away, it's an Ireland that is not just cleaner, but it's actually an Ireland that is better. And I think who wouldn't want that? So we're all very much aware of the problems that we're facing, and one of the wonderful things that I get to do here with my colleagues in UCC is to think about the solutions. And there's a huge opportunity for Ireland by producing more of our electricity from clean renewables, because it's affordable, it's less volatile. And then the trick is, how can we get that electricity into other parts of the economy? So today, science is telling us, our information from Sustainable Energy Authority in Ireland tells us that about 20% of the stuff in Ireland uses electricity. What if we get up to 80% to 90% or more? That means that the clean electricity that we produce from our sunlight, from wind, from our land, from our oceans, will be able to reach deeper into our economy and de-risk that volatility that's associated with fossil fuels. When you reduce emissions, you increase opportunities for other factors in our lives. So all that sounds wonderful, but we have to be careful not to fool ourselves. There's challenges ahead. If we want a future that has more clean electricity and green electricity, there's 2 things that we need to do. We need to build more infrastructure in Ireland. That means we have to get used to building more wind farms and solar farms onshore and offshore in Ireland. The other thing that's very important is that we need to be able to move electricity more efficiently around the country. And that means we're going to need wires, pylons and cables, more transmission. And that is always going to be challenging. Right across Ireland, right across the world, it is very difficult to build pylons. It is very difficult to build transmission projects. We must acknowledge that. We must accept it. We must understand that not everybody's going to welcome these projects into their community. So there are going to be trade-offs, and we must be cognizant and work with communities to understand what are the best solutions.